From the epic Avengers Assemble portal sequence that brought every hero back for the ultimate battle, to Black Widow's hilarious stunt double glitch that accidentally revealed a mustachioed man in Scarlett Johansson's place, these moments had audiences frantically hitting pause. But which scene truly topped them all? Avengers Assemble portal scene. If there's one moment in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe that justifies the existence of the pause button, it's the portal sequence in Avengers Endgame. This isn't just the most paused moment in Marvel history. It might be the most paused moment in modern cinema, period. The context leading to this moment makes it even more powerful. Captain America stands alone on a devastated battlefield, his shield cracked and his body battered, facing down Thanos and his entire army. This is the darkest possible moment for our heroes. The compound is destroyed, most of the team is buried in rubble, and Steve Rogers is preparing to make what appears to be his final stand against impossible odds. But then Sam Wilson's voice crackles over the comms with 3 simple words that change everything: on your left. It's a perfect callback to their first meeting in The Winter Soldier, when Sam used the same phrase while lapping Steve during a morning run. What was once a friendly jab between joggers becomes a herald of salvation, a promise that help is coming from the most unexpected direction. The first portal opens behind Steve like a window into hope itself, its golden edges crackling with the energy of the mystic arts. When Black Panther, Okoye, and Shuri step through, it's not just the return of fallen heroes, it's the restoration of possibility itself. T'Challa's nod to Steve carries years of mutual respect between leaders who understand the weight of protecting others, while the presence of Wakanda's forces suggests that Earth's most advanced nation stands ready to defend not just their homeland, but the entire universe. But this is only the beginning. Portal after portal opens across the battlefield, each one revealing different groups of heroes, allies, and armies that transform the landscape from a scene of defeat into the staging ground for the most epic battle in cinematic history. When Steve finally speaks, that quiet Avengers, followed by the thunderous Assemble, it represents the culmination of every team-up movie promise ever made. Chris Evans delivers the line with perfect weight and timing, understanding that this isn't just a battle cry, but a statement of belief in the power of unity and heroism. The charge that follows transforms the sequence from assembly to action, with thousands of heroes, soldiers, and allies rushing toward Thanos' forces in a wave of righteous determination. What makes this moment infinitely pause-worthy is the incredible attention to detail scattered throughout the sequence. While the Avengers Assemble scene celebrates the return of heroes, our next moment takes us to the opposite emotional extreme, showcasing the devastating power of loss and sacrifice through groundbreaking visual effects that left audiences stunned and heartbroken. The snap and dusting effects. The snap sequence in Infinity War is undoubtedly one of these moments, a scene so perfectly crafted in its horror and heartbreak that millions of viewers around the world found themselves frantically pausing, rewinding, and rewatching in disbelief. By this point in Infinity War, we've watched Thanos methodically collect the Infinity Stones across multiple storylines, each acquisition bringing him closer to his ultimate goal. The heroes have fought valiantly. The Guardians and Avengers nearly defeated him on Titan, the Wakandans mounted an incredible defense, and Thor came impossibly close to a killing blow. For a brief moment, it seemed like the good guys might actually win. But that's what makes Thanos such a compelling antagonist. He's not motivated by typical villainous desires for power or revenge. His twisted logic about saving the universe through mass genocide gives his actions a horrifying sense of purpose. When he completes the gauntlet and prepares to snap his fingers, there's no malicious glee, no cackling villain monologue. There's only grim determination and the absolute certainty that what he's doing is necessary. What follows is perhaps the most technically impressive and emotionally devastating sequence in modern blockbuster cinema. The dusting effect isn't just visual spectacle. It's a masterclass in how special effects can serve emotional storytelling. Each character's disintegration is carefully crafted to reflect their personality and relationship dynamics, creating individual moments of tragedy within the larger catastrophe. Bucky's dissolution begins with confusion rather than fear. His Steve carries years of friendship and loyalty, a desperate reach for the one constant in his fractured life. The way he crumbles while looking to Captain America for answers perfectly captures the tragedy of their relationship. Two men out of time who finally found each other again, only to be separated by forces beyond their control. But it's Spider-Man's extended disintegration that truly makes this sequence pause-worthy for most viewers. Tom Holland's performance as Peter realizes what's happening to him is devastating in its raw emotional honesty. His enhanced senses allow him to feel the dissolution beginning before it's visible, creating precious seconds of terror and desperate pleading. "I don't want to go" isn't just a line of dialogue. It's the cry of every person who's ever faced mortality too young, too suddenly, blatantly, too unfairly. Fans pause this sequence, not just to admire the technical craftsmanship, but to process the emotional weight of what they're witnessing. In a genre known for temporary setbacks and last-minute saves, Infinity War had the courage to end with genuine, devastating loss. If the snap represented the ultimate expression of Thanos' twisted philosophy through cosmic power, our next moment strips away all pretense and cosmic significance, delivering brutal personal justice with shocking medieval directness that left audiences gasping. The A-Force team-up. The setup for this moment is as important as the execution itself. Peter Parker, overwhelmed by Outriders and desperately clutching the reconstructed Infinity Gauntlet, makes the split-second decision to hand it off to Captain Marvel, arguably the most powerful hero on the battlefield and someone who has already proven she can single-handedly destroy Thanos' flagship. But the handoff occurs in the middle of an active war zone, with enemy forces between Carol and her destination, the quantum tunnel van that represents their only chance of returning the stones to their proper timelines. When Peter expresses doubt about how she'll make it through the chaos, Okoye's response, "She's got help," serves as both a tactical assessment and a declaration of solidarity. What follows is a moment of pure cinematic magic that manages to feel both spontaneous and inevitable, as if the universe itself has been building toward this exact configuration of heroes. The assembly shot itself is a masterpiece of visual storytelling and character positioning. Captain Marvel takes point, her cosmic energy creating a brilliant focal point that draws the eye and establishes her as the sequence's driving force, but she's immediately flanked by an incredible array of heroic women, each positioned to showcase their unique abilities and personalities within the larger composition. Scarlet Witch hovers slightly above the others, her red energy crackling around her fingers as visible proof of the rage and power she's carried since Vision's death. Valkyrie, mounted on her winged horse and wielding her dragonfang sword, represents the warrior spirit and royal heritage of Asgard, her armor gleaming as she prepares to lead a charge worthy of legend. Rescue's appearance in this lineup carries special emotional weight, as Pepper Potts' transformation into an armored hero represents the completion of a character arc that began in the very first Iron Man film. Wasp brings her size-changing abilities to the formation, her unique powers adding tactical versatility that complements the raw power of her teammates. Shuri, armed with her Wakandan technology and representing the brilliant fusion of traditional African culture with advanced science, stands ready to prove that intellect and innovation are just as valuable as superhuman abilities. Mantis and Nebula, the cosmic members of this impromptu team, bring their unique perspectives as former enemies turned heroes, while Gamora's presence serves as a reminder of the personal costs everyone has paid in this war against Thanos. While the A-Force moment celebrated the spectacular coordination of multiple heroines in epic battle, our next entry takes us to a much quieter but equally meaningful pause-worthy scene, one that rewards careful observation with a deeply personal connection spanning multiple films. Thanos' decapitation. The context leading up to this moment makes it even more jarring. In the 3 weeks following the snap, the remaining Avengers have been grappling with failure on an unprecedented scale. They've lost not just friends and family, but half of all life in the universe. When Nebula provides intelligence about Thanos' whereabouts, it represents the first real hope they've had since the snap. The idea that they might be able to reverse what happened, to bring back everyone they lost, drives them to mount what essentially amounts to a suicide mission against the most powerful being in the universe. But that's exactly the point. It is too good to be true, and the film makes that devastatingly clear within minutes of their arrival. The Thanos they encounter isn't the cosmic warlord who terrorized the universe. He's a tired farmer who has achieved his goal and destroyed the very tools that made his victory possible. The revelation that he used the Infinity Stones to destroy themselves isn't just exposition, it's the death knell of hope itself. The execution scene unfolds with shocking suddenness. There's no dramatic buildup, no villain monologue, no last-minute revelation that might change everything. Thor, driven by guilt over his failure to stop Thanos in Wakanda, simply swings Stormbreaker with lethal precision. The decapitation happens in a single swift motion that emphasizes the finality of the act. What makes this moment particularly pause-worthy isn't just the shocking violence, though the sight of Thanos' head rolling across the floor certainly qualifies as one of the MCU's most graphic moments. It's the way the scene strips away any sense of heroic satisfaction from the act of revenge. Thor's "I went for the head" callback to his earlier failure provides no catharsis, no sense of justice served. But it's the silent silence that follows that truly makes this scene pause-worthy. In a genre known for quips and one-liners, the complete absence of dialogue after the decapitation creates a vacuum that audiences fill with their own shock and processing. The pause button becomes necessary not to catch missed details, but to simply absorb what has happened and what it means for everything that follows. Where Thanos' beheading delivered shocking brutality in a quiet, intimate setting, our next moment provides the complete opposite, a brief, almost comedic appearance that requires eagle-eyed viewers to spot one of Marvel's most unlikely heroes joining the universe's greatest battle. The kid at Tony Stark's funeral. In a film filled with universe-shaking battles and cosmic-level stakes, one of the most pause-worthy moments comes during its quietest scene. Tony Stark's funeral, with its lakeside setting and intimate gathering of heroes and loved ones, provided the perfect emotional conclusion to the character who started the entire MCU journey. But among all the familiar faces paying their respects, the Avengers, the Guardians, the extended Marvel family, one figure sparked more freeze-frame analysis than almost any other: a teenage boy standing solemnly at the back of the gathering. For casual viewers, this unknown teenager might have seemed like a random extra, or perhaps a stand-in for the countless young people inspired by Tony Stark's heroism. But for fans who had been following the MCU's intricate continuity since its earliest days, this young man represented something far more significant: a direct connection to one of Tony's most personal and transformative adventures. The boy is Harley, and his presence at the funeral serves as a beautiful callback to Iron Man 3, a film that dealt extensively with Tony's vulnerability, his struggles with PTSD, and his ability to form meaningful connections even in his darkest moments. When we first met Harley, he was a precocious kid in Rose Hill, Tennessee, whose garage workshop and natural mechanical aptitude caught Tony's attention during a particularly low point in his journey. Their relationship in Iron Man 3 was built on mutual respect and shared genius. Harley wasn't a superhero or a fellow Avenger. He was just a smart kid who understood technology and wasn't intimidated by Tony's reputation or his struggles. In many ways, Harley represented what Tony himself might have been like as a child: curious, inventive, and eager to understand how things work. Their scenes together provided some of the most grounded and human moments in the entire Iron Man trilogy. What makes this moment particularly pause-worthy is the way it represents Tony's legacy in its purest form. While the world will remember Iron Man as the armored hero who helped save the universe, Harley represents a different aspect of Tony's impact: his role as a mentor and inspiration to the next generation of inventors and problem solvers. Their brief but meaningful relationship in Iron Man 3 planted seeds that clearly continued to grow even when we weren't watching. Our next moment operates on the opposite end of the spectrum: a split-second visual gag so absurd and unexpected that it became instantly legendary among fans scanning the chaos of battle. Howard the Duck cameo. Howard the Duck, the cigar-chomping anthropomorphic waterfowl who first appeared in the MCU during the Guardians of the Galaxy credits, makes a blink-and-you-miss-it appearance during Endgame's final battle that has become legendary among fans for its sheer audacity and perfect timing. This is the culmination of over a decade of storytelling, the moment when every hero in the MCU comes together to face Thanos and his army in a battle that will determine the fate of reality itself. Portals are opening across the battlefield, bringing back not just the heroes who were snapped away, but allies from every corner of the Marvel universe. The emotional weight of this moment is staggering. These are the heroes we thought we'd lost forever, returning just when hope seemed completely lost. And then, in the middle of this universe-defining moment, there's Howard the Duck with a laser gun. The appearance itself lasts maybe 2 seconds of screen time, barely visible behind other characters in a wide shot of the charging heroes. Howard appears to be part of the Ravager contingent from nowhere, wielding what looks like a standard-issue cosmic weapon with his characteristic grumpy expression intact. What makes this cameo so pause-worthy isn't just its randomness, but the way it perfectly encapsulates Marvel's approach to universe building. This is a company willing to include a talking duck in the most serious and consequential moment of their entire cinematic saga, not as a joke or a throwaway gag, but as a legitimate part of their cosmic ecosystem. Howard's presence suggests that in the Marvel universe, heroism comes in all forms, even ones that seem utterly ridiculous by conventional standards. The fan reaction to discovering Howard's presence was immediate and overwhelming. Social media exploded with freeze-frame captures, pointing out his exact location in the battle formation and celebrating Marvel's commitment to including even their most obscure characters in the universe's defining moment. The fact that his appearance was so brief made finding him feel like discovering buried treasure, creating a shared experience among fans who had to actively search for this particular Easter egg. While Howard's cameo represented Marvel's willingness to embrace the absurd within epic moments, our next entry takes us back several years to witness a moment that that established the cosmic scope of the MCU's future, but with a significant inconsistency that eagle-eyed fans couldn't help but notice and endlessly debate. Thanos grabs the gauntlet. The context leading up to this moment makes it even more significant. We've just witnessed Ultron's defeat in Sokovia, a victory that came at tremendous cost and revealed dangerous fractures within the Avengers themselves. The team has proven they can handle global threats, but they've also shown they're not invulnerable to manipulation, internal conflict, and the weight of their own power. It's the perfect time for a reminder that there are forces in the universe far more dangerous than anything they've faced. The scene itself unfolds with the kind of deliberate pacing that Marvel had mastered for maximum impact. We find ourselves in what can only be described as a cosmic vault, a shadowy asteroid-like structure that immediately establishes we're dealing with powers beyond earthly comprehension. The architecture itself tells a story, with its alien geometry and dim lighting creating an atmosphere of ancient power and barely contained menace. But it's the centerpiece of this vault that draws our attention and makes this moment infinitely pause-worthy. The Infinity Gauntlet, resting on its pedestal like some kind of cosmic artifact waiting for its destined owner. The golden metal gleams in the low light, its intricate engravings and empty gem slots practically begging for closer examination. Even before we see who approaches it, the gauntlet itself radiates significance. When Thanos enters the frame and slides his massive hand into the gauntlet, the sound design alone makes this moment memorable. That metallic clink as his fingers find their places isn't just audio. It's the sound of destiny falling into place, of cosmic forces aligning for something terrible and inevitable. The way he flexes his fingers, testing the fit, carries an almost ritualistic quality that suggests this isn't the first time he's contemplated this moment. Thanos says, "Fine, I'll do it myself." But it's his line delivery that transforms this from a simple teaser into something genuinely chilling. "Fine, I'll do it myself" isn't shouted or snarled. It's spoken with the quiet determination of someone who has run out of patience with failure. Josh Brolin's gravelly voice carries just the right mix of frustration and resolve, making it clear that Thanos isn't angry so much as he's ready to take direct action. The pause-worthy elements of this scene extend beyond just the obvious spectacle. Eagle-eyed fans immediately noticed design inconsistencies that would become topics of discussion for years. While Thanos' gauntlet scene represented a villain taking matters into his own hands, our next entry shows us heroes at their most vulnerable, not from external threats, but from the psychological warfare that tears at the very foundations of their unity and purpose. The Avengers' disassembled shot. There's something profoundly unsettling about seeing your heroes at their lowest point, and Age of Ultron provided one of the most visually striking examples of this in the entire MCU. After spending years watching the Avengers grow from a reluctant alliance into a cohesive team, witnessing them fractured and vulnerable hits differently than similar moments in other films, the context surrounding this moment makes it even more impactful. Ultron's attack at Avengers Tower wasn't just a physical assault. It was a psychological warfare campaign designed to tear the team apart from within. Scarlet Witch's reality-warping abilities had given each team member a glimpse into their deepest fears and failures. Tony saw his friends dead because he wasn't strong enough to save them. Steve was haunted by the life he'd lost and could never reclaim, and Thor witnessed the destruction of Asgard at his own hands. These weren't just nightmares. They were perfectly crafted attacks on each hero's core identity and greatest vulnerabilities. By the time we reach this shot, the Avengers aren't just physically battered, they're emotionally and psychologically devastated, questioning everything they thought they knew about themselves and their mission. The visual composition of this moment is nothing short of masterful. The wide shot encompasses the destruction around them, cracked walls that mirror their fractured unity, flickering lights that suggest systems failing on multiple levels, and shadows that seem to engulf rather than simply surround our heroes. Each Avenger occupies their own space within the frame, creating a sense of isolation even though they're technically together. Iron Man slumps in his damaged armor, the usually bright arc reactor dim and flickering like a failing heart. The physical damage to his suit mirrors the emotional damage Wanda's visions have inflicted, making him question whether his technology is salvation or damnation. Captain America stands shield down, his posture conveying a weariness that goes beyond physical exhaustion. This is a man whose moral certainty has been shaken to its core. But perhaps most significantly, this shot serves as a visual metaphor for the themes that would dominate not just the rest of Age of Ultron, but the entire next phase of the MCU. The fractures we see here aren't just physical, they're They're emotional and ideological cracks that will eventually split the team apart in Civil War. Where the disassembled shot showed us heroes broken by psychological manipulation, our next moment takes us back to the very beginning of the Avengers saga. But this time, we're witnessing not heroic failure, but the kind of production mistake that becomes beloved precisely because it reminds us that even movie magic is created by fallible human beings. Black Widow's stunt double glitch. The scene in question occurs early in the film, during one of Black Widow's most impressive action sequences. Natasha Romanoff has been playing the long game, allowing herself to be captured by Russian arms dealers in what appears to be a dingy warehouse straight out of a spy thriller. She's tied to a chair, seemingly helpless, while her captors believe they have the upper hand. When Phil Coulson's call comes through about the escalating Loki crisis, it's time for Natasha to drop the act. What follows should be a fluid demonstration of her incredible martial arts skills and tactical superiority. She executes a complex backward flip out of the chair while still bound, using the momentum to kick one thug and headbutt another in a choreographed sequence that showcases why she's an Avenger. But here's where movie magic meets human error in the most entertaining way possible. For just a split second, and we're talking about maybe 2 or 3 frames of film, the camera captures something it absolutely shouldn't have: the male stunt double who performed the more dangerous parts of the sequence. And this isn't a subtle mistake that requires frame-by-frame analysis to spot. We're talking about a clearly visible mustache, short hair barely concealed under a wig, and a significantly bulkier build that makes the substitution hilariously obvious. What makes this moment truly pause-worthy isn't just the humor of seeing a mustachioed man in Scarlett Johansson's place, but the way it pulls back the curtain on filmmaking itself. For a brief moment, we see the machinery behind the magic, the careful coordination required to create these action sequences, and the small army of professionals who make our heroes look superhuman on screen. The internet's reaction to this discovery was immediate and gleeful. Frame grabs of the stunt double began appearing on forums within hours of the film's release, spawning memes, discussion threads, and detailed breakdowns of how such mistakes make it into final cuts. While Black Widow's stunt double glitch provided unintentional comedy through human error, our final entry brings us full circle to the moment that started it. All the first glimpse of the cosmic threat that would define the next decade of Marvel storytelling, delivered with all the calculated precision and ominous promise that only a perfectly executed post-credits scene can provide. Thanos' first full reveal. Let this skin. You've just witnessed the most ambitious superhero team-up in cinematic history. The Battle of New York has concluded with Earth's mightiest heroes triumphant, Loki is in custody, and the Tesseract is secure. You're probably feeling pretty good about how everything wrapped up. The good guys won, New York is saved, and justice prevails. But then those credits start rolling, and if you're a true Marvel fan, you know better than to head for the exits just yet. What follows is perhaps one of the most significant post-credits scenes in Marvel history, a moment so loaded with implications that it essentially rewrote the rulebook for how superhero franchises could build towards something bigger. Thanos said, "Humans, they are not the cowering wretches we were promised. They stand. They are unruly and therefore cannot be ruled. To challenge them is to court death." But it's that final phrase that becomes absolutely crucial when the camera begins its slow, tension-building pan. As the figure on the throne turns to face us, we get our first full look at the being who will dominate the next decade of Marvel storytelling. The purple-skinned face emerges from shadow like something from our darkest nightmares, but it's the expression that truly makes this moment pause-worthy. That chilling, satisfied smirk that suggests the prospect of death doesn't frighten this creature, but delights him. Fans immediately hit pause to drink in every detail of Thanos' design: the textured, weathered skin that speaks of countless battles across the cosmos, the golden armor that manages to look both regal and menacing, and those eyes that gleam with an intelligence far more terrifying than mere brute force. Even the subtle details reward close examination: the way the light plays across his features, the careful positioning that makes him appear both statuesque and alive, and yes, that early tease of the Infinity Gauntlet visible on his throne. This moment represents the exact instant the Marvel Cinematic Universe shifted from earthbound superhero adventures to something cosmic in scope. Thanos wasn't just another villain. He was a promise, a threat, and a destination all rolled into one perfectly crafted reveal. The way Thanos' smile seems to acknowledge the audience directly creates an unsettling intimacy between villain and viewer. Unlike other post-credits scenes that might tease future plot points or provide comic relief, this moment establishes a personal relationship between the audience and the ultimate threat. We've seen his face, witnessed his satisfaction at the prospect of challenging Earth's heroes, and now we must live with the knowledge that this confrontation is inevitable. What makes this reveal particularly masterful is how it manages to be both a conclusion and a beginning. It provides closure to the Avengers by explaining the larger forces behind Loki's invasion, while simultaneously opening up infinite possibilities for future stories. stories. The cosmic scope suggested by Thanos' throne room and the mention of courting death immediately expanded the MCU's mythology beyond anything audiences had previously imagined. This moment established the template for how Marvel would handle major reveals going forward, with patience, attention to detail, and an understanding that sometimes the most powerful moments come not from action, but from the promise of action to come. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.